Today we update the levers and the chain adjuster on the 2023 Aprilia RSV4. Just an update on the RSV4. I'm probably gonna have to warranty this tank. If you guys look, getting some blisters in the finish. There's another one down here. It's very hard to see. It just started, but there's one there. And I saw, yeah, there's a split there as well. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to contact the dealer to see if I can get that warranted. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated along the way so you guys know what the warranty process is like for something like this on these Aprilias. Now, we haven't seen the RSV4 in quite a while because I've been working on other projects, mainly this Panigale V4, but today we are going to change this chain adjuster here to a TWM unit, and we're gonna change these super ugly levers that I've never liked on these bikes, again to TWMs. We'll change the windscreen out real quick as well, but the main focus is gonna be these levers and that chain adjuster. Got a lot of parts coming in, mostly for the Panigale V4, but this RSV4 stuff did come in the other day. It came from Moto Million, so I want to thank those guys over there for getting me these parts pretty quick. Here's that chain adjuster by TWM. I like how it has the RSV4 logo on there. We're going with these TWM levers as well, so let's go ahead and throw these on. So with these RSV4s, it's a bit of a conundrum when you're changing these levers because of how they designed this bike. If you look here at full lock, even the stock levers, and they're basically touching the fairings here, and they're real close on the other side as well. So that means a lot of aftermarket levers actually interfere with the fairing. Not a huge deal really, because I mean, how often are you really at full lock and everything? Not very often, but it is a thing, right? So today we're gonna put these TWM levers on, see how much adjustment we can get out of them before they interfere with the fairings there. And the levers on this bike, it's always been one of my least liked parts of this bike. I mean, you look at how much they sell these bikes for, they kind of have to cut costs somewhere. When you look at how much these cost in comparison to a Panigale V4, for example, quite a price difference, so I get it. But these levers have always really bothered me. I mean, they certainly get the job done, but I mean, they just look really cheap. Just the color that they chose to use, or I should say finish that they chose to use, the shape of them, it just doesn't really fit the bike too much, so we got to change these out. Let's go ahead and open it up, take a close look. Again, these are from TWM. And let's see, okay, good. It comes with the little bullet for the master cylinder, so that's good. Let's take a look at the lever itself. Yeah, nice and clean, pretty plain, has a little made by TWM with the Italian flag on it. Very nice quality. It's what you would expect from TWM. Okay, so let's go ahead and start getting this torn down. Pretty easy. Just gonna be, obviously this is on the brake side. It's a 4mm Allen up top and a 10mm nut on the bottom. Make sure you loosen the nut first. And then from there, you can go ahead and loosen that Allen key. There we go, not too bad, pretty easy. Okay, now when it comes to this part, once you get that fastener out, this is gonna just pull away from the master. There is a boot here, so be careful you don't tear it. And it should just come away. Again, just be very careful. No need to rush here. There we go. It'll come away. So there's our lever. Now let's go ahead and compare them side by side. TWM on the bottom, stock up top. You can see the stock one is just very basic. It's just like a cast aluminum piece that gets the job done for sure. But the TWM, aesthetically much better looking. Plus it has the ability to fold and so forth as well. It also has the little drag reducing cut in the lever, and it gives you a place to tie the bike down as well. So quite an improvement here going to the TWM. I will say I'm a little surprised here when I pulled the stock lever off. The bullet pretty much had no lubrication on it. I've never seen that before. Usually there's at least some type of grease on that. So we're gonna change that when we put the new lever in. TWM, they actually recommend to put this portion of the lever in first, this bullet part. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I put a little bit of Lucas red and tacky grease on there just to make it go in a little bit easier. Again, generally when I see these, they have some type of grease on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it, and we're gonna have to work with this for a while. We're probably gonna have to time lapse this next part because these are always kind of a pain. Okay, surprisingly, that wasn't that bad. That was the easiest one that I've done. It's way easier than doing it on the Ducatis. I would think that the master cylinder is the same, but it seems like the boot setup is a little bit different. Now it's time for the new one. Let's go ahead and throw it on. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Lucas Red and Tacky on that pin there, just a little bit, doesn't need much. I'm actually gonna put a little bit on these two surfaces as well, just to coat it so it's not completely dry. And, ooh, that feels very tight. Okay, and that looks good. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put that pin back in. Again, I'm gonna put a little bit of red and tacky in there as well. There it is installed. So this is the important part. I have it adjusted all the way in. I mean, it's in so far that it's basically not even activating the brake master. And I just want to see how much adjustment we could get out of it before we hit the fairing there. So again, this is all the way in. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see what 5 clicks looks like. Okay, so 5 clicks, we have a little bit of room still. Let's go out a few more. Oops. 6, 7. Okay, and I think 7 is gonna be about it. 7 clicks out, it's just about right up against the fairing. So let's go to 8. Okay, so that's 8. Okay, and that's hitting the fairing. So looks like you could go 7, and that's about it before it starts hitting the fairing. But as you guys can see, much of an improvement compared to this thing here. Big improvement. Now let's talk about torque specs. Here's our diagram. This is the official Aprilia service manual, and we could see we're interested in this number 4. This is our brake lever here. We're interested in this pin here. It's number 4. We could see 10 Newton meters or 7.38 foot-pounds of torque for that one. Now let's move on to that clutch side. Okay, so on the clutch side, it is similar to the brake side in that there's a 10mm nut that you need to get underneath. There's a little bit less clearance on this clutch side, so you have to be careful. I'll show you what it looks like. So there's our 10mm there, right? But you'll notice this top fastener is a little bit different, right? Let's go back over to our brake. And you can see on our brake side, it had an actual number 4 Allen key there. Whereas on our clutch side, it just has this post here. But once you get that out, this will be loose. Be very, very careful because the clutch switch, it's very hard to see, but there is a little post. I'm pointing at it with my screwdriver here. It's that one there. Be very careful you don't break that. That's your clutch switch. And once I get the lever off, I'll actually do a close-up of that pin so you guys can see it so you don't break it. We do need to let out some slack with the clutch cable, which is going to be this adjustment here. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you guys need my guidance too much there, but just go really slow with this. Let all that adjustment out. Just be really conscious of that pin behind the lever. Again, in a little while, I'll get you guys a close-up of what it looks like so you know what to look out for. As you guys saw in the time lapse, I was having trouble getting that lever out. And the reason was I actually needed to loosen this 8mm. Once I did that, it gave me just a little bit of play here, just a little bit, and it allowed me to get that lever out of that spot. I'll go ahead and demonstrate. So when this base is tightened down. It has no play side to side. So when you're trying to remove this lever, it bottoms out on your controls here. You can't get it out. But watch, once you slide it up just a little bit because it's loose, very carefully, you will be able to remove it. Just very carefully. Okay, there it is. And again, I wanted to point this pin out to you. This is your clutch switch, so be very careful you don't hit that or break it. It's a very small pin, so it wouldn't take much to damage that. You could see, actually that's our brake lever. So our clutch lever, you could compare the old to the new. See, the new is a much higher quality piece, looks much more expensive, and has more of those features. So I just put the whole thing back together and I have to take it back apart again. I want to show you why, and this is why you don't rush when you do these things. So I put it all the way back together and I did not realize, because I was rushing, there's actually a slug inside. There's a little sleeve, see this? Inside the stock lever. You need to transfer this over to the new one. And I'm putting it back together. It's just gonna be in reverse order. Again, I put a little bit of grease on this. It was relatively dry, so I went ahead and greased it up just a little bit. But be careful of that clutch switch. You should be able to get this in here. Okay, and there we go. So a little bit of a struggle there, but we did get it in. Of course, we're gonna have to adjust all this, but at least everything's in. I'm gonna put that 10mm nut on, readjust everything, and then should be good to go. Now back to our torque specs. This one here, so the 10mm underneath that goes to this fastener, 7.38 foot-pounds. This 8mm that we loosened up just to get some clearance, that's also 7.38 foot-pounds. You could see much better than what was there before. Way better. Really nice pieces, real subtle, obviously very functional, but look way better. Sorry, the workbench is a mess. Looks way better than these units. I mean, like, look at how cheap these cast aluminum pieces are compared to these. So pretty easy install, but just certain things that you have to be careful of. I provided the torque specs to you, and again, be very careful with that clutch switch. That little pin underneath here, be very careful with that. So our nice WRS windscreen, nice packaging. Let's open it up. A lot easier than taking off a Ducati windscreen, I'll tell you that much. There's our new look for the front of the bike. That WRS windscreen has a slight smoke tint to it. As you guys see, it's not too dark to where you can't see through it. So it's very functional, but it's a little bit different than stock, a little bit taller. Our levers, of course, very nice, much better than stock. I like the little details, made by TWM with the Italian flags on it. Very nice hardware on these, very easy to adjust as well. Again, on this side, nice little details, right? We see the made by TWM, nice hardware, nice details, of course. Check out our clearance, we're good. The way we have it adjusted, not an issue, doesn't hit. And same goes on that clutch side there. As you can see, we have clearance there. So it's not like some of the other levers where you're gonna have clearance issues. This set, depending on how it's adjusted, you've got plenty of room, which is cool. Now let's get to the back of the bike. Let's put that TWM chain adjuster in. First thing, gotta get the bike on the stand. I'm using a Pitbull stand here, as everybody should. They're very high quality. This is a 32mm nut. Gonna have to loosen that, and we're gonna have to take these old adjusters out of there. Okay, once you get that 32mm nut off, make sure you don't lose this shim. Just a pro tip, probably doesn't matter, but I'm gonna you want to try to put it back in the same orientation that it was. So this is assuming that I have to reuse this. I'm not sure if I'll need to on the TWM, but regardless, it's always good to keep track of which way these types of things go so we can put it back exactly how it was. Little adjustment fasteners here, really simple. It's just a 13 millimeter for the nut and a 10 millimeter for the actual screw part. Very, very simple. And then the block will just come out. And again, I'm gonna put this back for now until I figure out how the TWM setup works. That way I don't put anything in backwards. Here's a close-up of the TWM setup. I really liked on these it used the RSV4 font here, so it looks a little more factory. It doesn't look super aftermarket. You guys know I'm always into that type of look. I don't like things that are too custom looking, I guess. I just prefer the little bit more subtle look, so I really like that. They use the correct font and everything. I mean, I have an aftermarket graphics kit on mine, but it's the same font, right, as the stock one, which is pretty cool. This is what comes with the kit. There's some hardware here. Very, very basic, kind of like universal chain adjuster installation guide instructions. So it doesn't really help us too much, but it does give us the torque spec, which is great. And I've gotten a lot of high-end parts for these bikes that don't come with any torque specs. So thank you, TWM, for including specs with your parts, especially for something as crucial as a chain adjuster. Okay, so let's get this adjuster all taken apart. Real simple, it's just that 13 millimeter nut, and you're just gonna loosen it like this till it comes all the way out. Here's a tip. For the block that used to be here, you can notice I wrote all over it with a Sharpie, so if I need to put it back to stock, I know which side goes up, and I know which side is the inside, which side. Don't drop it like I just did, but that's not part of the pro tip, all right? So just make sure that if you do have to put it back to stock, you know which side goes outside, which side goes up, and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of pre-assemble this chain adjuster. If we go off the instructions here, this one here, this is a M8. So this M8, it's going to go here, and it does say to use medium thread lock and 12.5 Newton meters of torque. There's also this little brace that comes with the kit, okay? So if you look at the instructions, you can see the support here in the diagram. What this is gonna do, and it'll be clearer once we get the whole thing together, but what this support does is it goes back here and it helps support the rear of that chain adjuster. Okay, so now we've gotta pull this axle. So very simple, of course, you already took the nut off the other side. Once we pull this axle, this wheel is gonna drop. Of course, we have our chain still attached and everything, so shouldn't be an issue. It'll kind of hold it. And if you guys are wondering or curious, this is a RSV4 axle. All right, guys, so we got it all mocked up here. Just want to show you how this works. So basically, you can see how the adjustment is much easier now. You just need to turn this, and it's much more precise as well. You can go ahead and move this either fore or aft, right, depending on which way you want to do it. I am noticing one thing though. I don't really like this. Had to get a little bit better light so you guys can see, but you can see that brace there. It doesn't fit super good. And the torque spec is only 5 Newton meters on it, so I don't want to make it too tight because it'll snap it. I mean, 5 Newton meters is basically nothing. But I'm going to ask Moto Million about that. I'll send those folks an email and see if this is normal or this is supposed to fit like it does. Okay, and just a quick tip, guys. So this fastener here, make sure you tighten that and torque it 12.5 Newton meters before you put the axle in. If you put the axle in before you tighten this, you're not gonna have any room to torque it. So make sure you don't forget about this. That was a pain. It was hard to get the axle back in. It took a lot of finagling. So I think if you guys are doing this on your own, be better off if you had someone help you, just because it's easier with another person. But yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, it's hard to align everything. You're trying to hold the wheel, you're trying not to scratch anything, and then also trying to set the, push the axle through with everything lined up. So it's definitely easier with one person or two people, but I was able to do it on my own. It just took a little bit of time. As you can see, that's what the final product's gonna look like. So let's take a look at how you adjust it. It's very simple. You just have this 12 millimeter on the end here, and you just turn it whichever way you want to make it tighter or looser. As you can see here, I'm making it tighter now, right? And you can see it moving, and it's got these marks here to make it easier to adjust it exactly the same on both sides. But yeah, you guys can see, very simple. Let's go back to the Aprilia manual here. So we can see this is what Aprilia recommends as far as the procedure to check your chain tension. So very important, Aprilia wants the vehicle on its side stand in order to get a good measurement here. So every manufacturer is different. For this particular bike, they want us to take this measurement with it on its stand. So we're gonna do that. And then we're looking for this. We're looking for 20 millimeters of play in that top part of the chain there. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Hey guys, I'm gonna do my best to film this in a way that is clear, but you can see I've got my caliper set to 20 millimeters. You can either measure with the outside portion of these prongs or the inside portion of these. Either one is fine. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm gonna use the outside. So what we're measuring is, we're measuring this play here. So we wanna take the center of this, and we wanna see that it has 20 millimeters of play, center to center, okay? So it's hard for me to record this and measure at the same time, but this is the idea that we're looking for, something like this, okay? And we've got about 20 millimeters. If anything, we're a little loose on the spec, just slightly, but I'd rather be a little loose than too tight. But essentially that's what you're looking for, guys. Chain adjuster is all torqued down, chain adjusted properly. You can see they look pretty cool. Again, I really like how that looks. It looks like an OEM piece. I didn't know this, but I don't really like this Italian flag. It's just a cheap sticker, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it doesn't affect the functionality of the piece, of course, but if you look real close, the quality's not super good. It's kind of cheesy. I don't really like that, but not the end of the world. What is an issue though, if you look at how this support fits. Actually, let me get a flashlight for you guys. Look at how that support fits. I don't think that's supposed to be like that. It might just be variances in the Aprilia swing arms, but look at how that fits. Okay, and let's take a look at the other side. Look at the support on this side. It's not even up against the swing arm, so it's not supporting anything really. And yes, these are the same piece. I measured them with my caliper. They're not, I don't have them on the wrong side or anything like that. It's just how it fits, and I'm gonna have to ask those guys if it's supposed to be like that. There it is, back on the ground, all torqued down, all put back together. How much of a difference just the levers make. Smoked windscreen, of course, nice look, and the TWM chain adjuster. So I hope that was helpful today, guys. I know levers are kind of a pain on RSV4s because of the clearance thing and because of that weird clutch switch. It has that really small pin in it, but I'm hoping that this video today helps you guys out, helps you guys with your RSV4s, or I guess Tuonos as well. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, appreciate that very much, but a lot more content coming. Planning on doing a V4 versus V2 comparison, V4 versus RSV4 comparison, amongst other modifications as well. I'm gonna have to get that tank warranty for the RSV4 as well, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate that. See you guys next time.